You know, it's wild to think about, but 90% of the products you see sitting on a shelf at Target or CVS or like your local hardware store.
They weren't pitched by the inventors.
Exactly. They were not actually pitched by the people who invented them. Behind almost every single physical product you buy, there's this invisible high-stakes network of middlemen.
Right.
They're essentially acting as like Hollywood talent agents, but for spatulas and shampoos and consumer electronics.
It really shatters the illusion of the shelf, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because as consumers, we just, we walk into a brightly lit store, we see an item perfectly positioned right at eye level, and we just assume, oh, the best product simply won.
Like it's a pure meritocracy.
Exactly. But we are completely shielded from the ruthless, really highly orchestrated ecosystem operating behind the scenes to orchestrate that single moment of discovery for you.
And that hidden machinery is exactly what we are tearing into today. We have a source guide in front of us from Retailbound, which is a consultancy that specializes in retail channel management.
Yeah, founded by Johann Jacob.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is to completely demystify this invisible middleman, the manufacturer sales representative.
It's such a crucial topic.
It is, because if you are a startup founder trying to get your brilliant new physical product into stores, you absolutely need to know how this game is played.
Oh, yeah. You'll get eaten alive otherwise.
Seriously. And even if you're just someone who loves understanding the hidden psychology of how things end up in your shopping cart, we are going to code how products actually reach you. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
What exactly is a manufacturer sales representative?
So in the simplest terms, a manufacturer sales rep, they're often called a rep group or an independent rep in the industry, is basically a third-party hired gun. They don't work for the brand making the product, and they don't work for the retail store. They are a free agent sitting right in the middle.
So they're completely independent.
Exactly. And their sole function is to promote and sell products to retail buyers on behalf of a manufacturer.
Okay, so when I was reading through the source material, a comparison popped into my head. Are these independent reps basically acting as the Hollywood talent agents for physical products?
I like that.
Because, like, an actor might have incredible talent, right?
Yeah.
But they can't just walk onto a Warner Brothers lot and demand a starring role.
No, security would throw them out.
Right. They need an agent who knows the casting director, someone who can, get them in the room and advocate for them. So the manufacturer is the actor, the product is the audition script, and the retail buyer is the casting director.
It's a really solid baseline for an analogy, but we need to add one crucial, honestly kind of terrifying twist.
Uh-oh. What's the twist?
An actor usually only has one agent advocating for their specific look, right? A retail rep, however, represents a whole portfolio of brands. So they are a talent agent, yes, but they are simultaneously pitching 20 different actors for the exact same leading role.
Oh, wow. Wait, really? That makes it instantly more complicated.
It really does. But the core parallel holds up because, just like in Hollywood, the retail industry is built entirely on who you know.
It's all about relationships.
Exactly. These independent reps are not, they're not salaried employees pulling a nice, safe paycheck with benefits. They work entirely on commission.
Wow.
And because of that, their true currency, like the absolute most valuable asset they possess, is their existing relationships with retail buyers.
Right, because the retail buyer is the ultimate gatekeeper. I mean, they hold the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the buyer's psychology for a second.
Okay.
A buyer at a major national chain is just drowning in pitches. They're looking at thousands of new products a year, trying to decide what gets that highly coveted, highly limited physical shelf space.
And shelf space is finite.
Exactly. And their biggest fear isn't missing out on a cool product.
Mm-hmm.
Their biggest fear is putting a dud on the shelf that collects dust and, hurts the store's bottom line.
Right.
So they are naturally deeply risk averse.
I mean, that makes total sense. So if a brand new founder cold calls them, that's high risk.
Massive risk.
But if a rep, someone that buyer has, like, golfed with for 10 years, someone who consistently brings them profitable products, walks in and says, hey, you need to look at this new brand.
The calculus totally changes.
Right. The trust is already established.
Exactly. For consumer product companies, especially a startup that's, burning cash and fighting obscurity, These reps are the bridge to mainstream awareness.
Which naturally brings us to the advantages, right? Like the fast track to the shelf.
Yeah.
The Retailbound guide points out that hiring a rep isn't just about unlocking doors, it's about avoiding amateur mistakes.
Oh, the mistakes founders make are endless.
Let's invent a hypothetical scenario to really trace how this works. Imagine you are a founder and you've spent 3 years engineering a revolutionary, I don't know, non-toxic ceramic frying pan.
Okay, I'm with you.
You know the chemistry inside and out, but you don't know retail.
That is the classic founder's trap. I see it all the time.
Right.
You might have the best polymer coating in the world, but if you don't speak the language of a retail buyer, you will fail the pitch.
Yeah.
This is where a rep earns their keep. They translate your engineering marvel into retail reality.
Well, let's talk about how they do that, starting with packaging. Because my instinct, right, as the inventor of this sleek, modern frying pan, would be to put it in a minimalist matte black box with tiny, elegant silver font.
Oh boy.
Like, it looks amazing on Instagram.
It probably does.
Yeah.
And a seasoned rep will take one look at that minimalist box and tell you it's a disaster.
Really, a disaster.
Complete disaster. They understand the harsh reality of the store environment. They'll explain that under the glaring fluorescent lights of a crowded home goods aisle,
Oh,
viewed from 4 feet away by a distracted shopper pushing a cart, your matte black box is practically invisible.
I didn't even think about that.
And the elegant silver font, totally illegible. The rep forces you to pivot. They'll say, we need bolder colors, we need a die-cut window so they can actually touch the ceramic, and we need a clear value proposition like never scrapes in massive letters right on the front.
Wow. So they are essentially crash testing the product before the buyer ever sees it.
Precisely.
And the source mentions they also strategize on shelf positioning, which I see all the time, but I never think about how it actually happens. How does a rep actually negotiate where this frying pan goes?
Well, getting the buyer to say yes is only half the battle. The other half is the real estate.
Right.
Are you hidden on the bottom shelf where people have to physically kneel to find you? Or are you featured on an end cap?
An end cap being those prime, highly visible display shelves right at the end of an aisle that drive all the impulse buys.
Exactly. Now, what's fascinating here is how a rep actually gets you that end cap. Leverage.
Okay, explain that.
Let's say this same rep also represents a massive, established brand of blenders that the retail buyer desperately needs for their Black Friday sale.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right. The rep can use that weight. They might go to the buyer and say, I'll ensure your holiday shipment of blenders gets priority out of our warehouse, but in exchange, you need to give this new ceramic frying pan a 4-week trial on an end cap.
That is fascinating. The startup is basically drafting off the slipstream of a massive corporation just by sharing the same rep.
It's the hidden mechanics of retail leverage. And this expertise translates directly into survival for a startup.
Right, because time is money.
Exactly. If you are a founder, you are burning cash every single month. You aren't moving inventory. A connected rep bypasses the entire cold calling phase. They can shave literally years off your timeline to gain retail distribution.
And the financial structure of this arrangement sounds incredible on paper. I mean, the rep is purely commission-based. As a founder, I'm not paying a $10,000 monthly retainer or like a huge salary with a 401k to build an in-house sales team.
Right. There's very little upfront risk. You only pay when the rep actually generates a purchase order.
Which is an official, binding contract from the retailer agreeing to buy your frying pans.
Yes, and when that order is paid, the rep takes their cut, usually somewhere between 5 and 15%, depending on the category.
Okay, so a commission structure sounds like a dream for a cash-strapped startup. But human nature dictates that if a salesperson only eats what they kill, they're going to hunt the easiest prey.
Naturally.
Doesn't this inherent eat-what-you-kill model create a massive conflict of interest for a brand's long-term strategy?
I am so glad you caught that because it absolutely does. It is a severe double-edged sword.
Okay.
And the source material doesn't shy away from this at all. Because reps earn only when they sell, they naturally gravitate toward the path of least resistance.
Okay, let's stick with our frying pan example. Say my long-term vision is to build a premium luxury culinary brand. I want a slow burn. I only want to be in high-end boutiques and places like Williams-Sonoma for the first 3 years, just to build prestige.
Sure, but your rep has a mortgage to pay this month.
Right.
Pitching to Williams-Sonoma requires multiple meetings, product testing, and a 6-month wait for a decision. Meanwhile, The rep knows a buyer at a massive big box discount chain who will write a massive purchase order today if the price is cheap enough.
Just boom, done.
Exactly. The volume is huge, and the rep's commission check will be massive and immediate.
So the rep pushes me to go into the discount chain.
And if you agree, you might get a great initial check, but your brand is instantly commoditized.
Oh.
Williams-Sonoma will never touch you now because you are known as a discount brand. If your product requires strategic nurturing, or if you have like a highly technical product that requires the rep to spend an hour educating a buyer,
they're just not going to do it.
right. A heavily commission-driven rep will likely lose patience and just move on to something that sells itself.
Which opens up an even bigger vulnerability. The portfolio problem. We touched on this earlier with the Hollywood analogy. I am not their only client. I am just one of 20 items in their bag.
Yep. You are competing for the retail buyer's attention, yes. But first, you are competing for your own rep's attention.
That's wild.
Let's walk through what a buyer meeting actually looks like in practice.
Okay.
A rep gets a highly coveted 30-minute meeting with a target buyer.
All right, the clock is ticking.
The rep walks in, they spend the first 5 minutes talking about golf for their kids, just to maintain the relationship.
Sure, now we're at 25 minutes.
The rep then spends 20 minutes discussing the flagship $10 million blender brand they represent, arguing over supply chain delays and negotiating holiday discounts.
Leaving exactly 5 minutes.
5 minutes for the other 19 brands in their bag.
Oh my God.
If your startup isn't generating massive, easy sales volume, your revolutionary frying pan gets pulled out at minute 29 as the buyer's looking at their watch.
Right.
They'll just be like, oh, by the way, check out this ceramic pan. Let me know if you want a sample. That's the pitch.
Yeah.
You run the very real risk of becoming an afterthought to your own advocate.
That is brutal. And
Right.
even if they do prioritize you, the guide highlights a third major constraint, which is limited coverage. These reps have geographic or vertical borders.
Because relationships are finite. I mean, even the most charismatic rep group does not know every single buyer at every single retailer across the continent.
So if my rep is a legend with buyers in the Northeast United States, they might be absolutely useless if I want to expand into like a grocery chain based in Texas.
Exactly. Their network doesn't magically transfer across state lines, or across industries for that matter.
Right.
If your rep knows every consumer electronics buyer on the planet, but your smart frying pan suddenly starts appealing to homewares buyers, your rep won't have those contacts.
Does that make sense?
Their specific reach might not align with your target accounts, meaning you might need to hire 4 different rep groups just to cover the country.
Which makes the entire process sound incredibly precarious. Because if the wrong rep can sideline your product by prioritizing a bigger client, or pushing you into the wrong tier of stores for a quick buck, or just simply lacking the right Rolodex, then finding the right rep isn't just like an item on a to-do list.
Oh, absolutely not.
It is a high-stakes matchmaking game that can literally make or break a company. So how do you find the good ones?
It is arguably the most critical decision a physical product founder will make. The source outlines a few methods, but the most traditional one requires real physical hustle.
Trade shows.
Trade shows and industry events.
Yeah, the article specifically mentions massive expos like CES for electronics, ASD, and NRF. Have you ever been to one of these?
Oh, they are exhausting.
If you've never been to a major industry trade show, it is a sensory overload. It's like 2 million square feet of convention center space, miles of awful carpet, neon lights, massive booths, and just tens of thousands of exhausted industry professionals.
But amidst all that chaos, the magic happens.
Right.
Hundreds of these independent sales reps walk those specific aisles actively hunting for new brands to add to their portfolios. They are looking for the next big thing.
So as a founder, you aren't just there to sell to a buyer, you are there to recruit a rep.
Exactly. Trade shows are invaluable because you get face-to-face interaction. You can gauge their enthusiasm, you can demand to see their current client list, and essentially interview them on the spot to ensure they don't carry, a direct competitor to your frying pan.
Okay, that's smart.
Now, if you don't have the capital to build a booth and fly to Vegas, the source notes you can utilize specialized online directories.
Sure.
You can filter agency listings by industry, by region, or by retail channel to find rep groups that match your exact profile.
Okay, but let's pause there for a second, because if the entire value of a rep is their relationship with the buyer,
Right.
couldn't I just reverse engineer this? Like, instead of hoping a directory gives me a good rep, why wouldn't I just go directly to the target buyer and ask who they actually like taking calls from?
And there it is.
Is that a thing?
That is the ultimate insider strategy, and the source highly recommends it.
It just makes logical sense. But how does that conversation actually play out?
Well, you still have to manage to get a buyer on the phone or reach them via email, which is hard. But if you do, instead of pitching your product, you ask for advice.
Oh, I love
You
that.
say, hey, we are launching a new premium ceramic cookware line. We want to do business with your store in the future. Who are the top 2 rep groups you trust in the homewares category?
That is brilliant. You are asking the casting director which agents aren't wasting their time.
Precisely. Retail buyers deal with hundreds of reps a month. They know intimately which ones are honest, which ones are disorganized, and which ones actually understand the supply chain. By asking a buyer for a recommendation, you are effectively pre-vetting the rep based on the exact relationship you are trying to leverage.
But I'm assuming you can't just call up this highly recommended top-tier rep with a messy prototype and a dream.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Remember, their time is their money.
Right.
If they take on a disaster of a product and pitch it to their best buyer, they burn their own relationship. If a rep doesn't think you are completely, quote-unquote, retail ready, they will reject you instantly.
Which brings us to the context of who actually wrote our source guide today. This material comes from Johann Jacob. He founded Retailbound, which is a consultancy that helps brands launch and scale across hundreds of retailers.
Yep.
But what's important here isn't the company itself, it's the underlying thesis of why his company exists. He clearly saw that you can't just hand a raw startup over to a seasoned rep and expect miracles.
Exactly. This raises an important question. Are you truly prepared? Being retail ready is a non-negotiable prerequisite.
And what does that mean practically?
It means your wholesale pricing margins make sense for the retailer. It means your factory can actually produce 10,000 frying pans if a massive purchase order comes through.
Because if you can't deliver, everyone looks bad.
Right. It means your packaging is finalized and compliant with store shelving standards.
So a rep is just an amplifier.
That is the perfect way to look at it. If your fundamental retail strategy is flawed, a great rep will just amplify those flaws faster until the retailer kicks you out.
Right.
But if you have your supply chain, your pricing, and your marketing locked down tight, a great rep takes that solid foundation and scales it exponentially across the country.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground here, navigating from the initial concept all the way through the grueling trade show floor and that 30-minute buyer pitch. So what does this all mean? Let's bring it all together.
I'd say the core takeaway is really understanding the dual nature of these independent reps.
Right, because on one hand, if you are a founder trying to break into retail, manufacturer sales reps are an incredibly powerful catalyst for growth. They are armed with deep insider relationships and a wealth of tactical retail expertise that can save a startup years of expensive trial and error. They speak the buyer's language, they can negotiate prime shelf space, and they are highly motivated by a commission structure to move your inventory.
But, and this big but, that very same commission structure introduces real, tangible risks to your brand's longevity.
You have to carefully weigh those risks. A founder must ensure their long-term vision isn't sacrificed for a rep's quick commission check at a discount store.
Yeah, you can't just set it and forget it.
And you have to rigorously vet these partners, whether that's through trade shows, directories, or ideally direct buyer recommendations, just to ensure your product doesn't become an ignored afterthought sitting at the bottom of a rep's crowded portfolio. It really is a marriage of convenience that requires intense, constant management.
It absolutely does. And there's one final, broader thought I want to leave you with, something that builds on everything we've just uncovered about this hidden machinery.
Okay, I'm ready.
We have spent this entire deep dive talking about how reps use their trusted relationships to get products onto shelves. We've talked about how they act as filters for overwhelmed retail buyers.
The gatekeepers to the gatekeepers.
Exactly. But consider the ultimate power dynamic this creates in the broad consumer market. If independent reps are acting as the primary filter for what reaches the shelf, and we know they are financially incentivized to prioritize the path of least resistance, the quick wins and easy volume to earn their commission, this raises a massive question.
Where are you going with this?
Are the consumer trends we see every day actually being driven by what consumers truly want? Or are our choices quietly, invisibly being dictated by what is simply the easiest and most profitable thing for a middleman to sell to a retail buyer in minute 29 of a meeting?
Oh, wow.
Right.
That fundamentally changes how you look at a store and makes you wonder how many amazing, innovative, life-changing products we never even get the chance to see simply because they required a little too much explanation and didn't fit neatly into a rep's quick commission strategy.
It's definitely something to think about.
That is a wild thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found this exploration into the hidden gears of retail as eye-opening as we did. The next time you walk down an aisle and pick up a brand new product from an end cap, I guarantee you will be looking at it a little differently. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll catch you next time.